If you've ever met an energy vampire or a succubus, and you probably have, you'll get the distinct feeling that this person has an intense need to prey off of the vitality of others, but it sometimes is difficult to see at first. They're good at hiding and poisoning their victims and blinding them until it's too late and you're waist deep into its web. But don't beat yourself up too much. We all slip and fall. We are in a great soul garden called Earth, having our souls fine-tuned with life experiences, good and bad, with the sole purpose of gaining relatively fast spiritual growth and enlightenment. Just like there's no such thing as a bad psychedelic trip, there's no such thing as a bad life experience, no matter how bad it is. And 90% of the time, anytime you have a bad experience, it's because of sin. But there's a kind of acute neediness present in energy vampires and succubus, which can be quite overwhelming and depleting to those they come in contact with. You don't have to hate them, you just have to be strategic about when you expose yourself to them. The only way to help is to try to bring them into the light and transmute their darkness into light, and if that doesn't work, just remove them from your life. One sign is they don't have family or not much connection with their so-called family. That is usually they will say things like their family is garbage or not worth it or they're bad, etc. Another sign is your friends will hate your significant other, but not sure why. Everyone has been in a relationship with where their friends don't like their significant other, but when you're with a secret demon who wants to nab your soul via intercourse, this kind of friction will be ratcheted up to the 9th degree. You may think that your girlfriend, wife, whatever it is the sweetest flower that ever did blossom, but your friends are constantly warning you about how they've got a bad feeling about her. Or they simply recoil whenever she suddenly shows up. Another sign is feeling like you're being watched. Specifically, do you feel like your girlfriend or wife or even your boyfriend is watching you when she or he is not even in the room, and not just in the way that they have set up a complicated video system, but in a way that the air seems dense with their presence despite them not actually being there? This could be a sign your significant other is a succubus who is watching you when you're all by your lonesome. Does your significant other's voice rattle in your mind when you're walking home from work or school or whatever? Does the voice of your significant other bounce around in your head like a racquetball? Are you finding that your thoughts are no longer your own? When a succubi's hold over you begins to increase, you'll hear their voice in your head constantly telling you to do things and act a certain way. This list also works for incubi too, the male version of a succubus, so not just for female. Another sign you have stopped talking to your friends in the early stages of dating a succubus or incubus. You may find yourself being drawn further into your relationship, ghosting all of your friends without even knowing it. If you wake up one morning and realize that you haven't seen your friends in weeks or talked to them, you may be coming out of a succubus haze, and this could be a sign that your life force is slowly being drained. During intercourse, your cells feel more stimulated than normal. That is also a sign. Due to the nature of a succubus or succubi, they are really good at intimate relations, and not only is it their expertise, but after thousands of years of swiping souls of the unsuspected men or females, they probably picked up a few tricks. And if you feel like the intimate encounters you're having are more intense than anything you've ever experienced before, you may be hooking up with one. Another sign is you'll feel incredibly drained after intimate relations, and not just in the way you feel dehydrated, but in a way where it seems like you're wasting away and that a portion of whatever soul you have left is gone. Take note the next time you have relations with your significant other. And check, are they also super tired, or do they seem like they're more charged than ever? If the latter is the case, then they may be pilfering your soul while you're in bed together. Another sign is when they can feel your emotions and especially know what buttons to push. Succubi are incredibly tuned into the emotions of others, and they kind of have to be in order to make the dreams of their lovers come true while slowly taking off with their soul. If you feel like your significant other always knows exactly how you're feeling or what buttons to push, and maybe even uses it against you, there's a good chance that you have a succubus or incubus on your hands. Were you repressed before you met them? Succubi use their powers to pull men or women out of their comfort zones so they can freely give up that sweet, sweet soul during sexual intercourse. Before you accuse your significant other of being a succubus or incubus, though, ask yourself if she or he is really pilfering your soul or if it's just trying to get you to have fun outside of the social norms. Another sign is they only want to visit you at night or when it's most convenient. You have been in a long-term, super intense relationship with someone who only visits you at night after you've gone to bed. Maybe she just appears as you are drifting off, or her body suddenly appears out of the shadows. Either way, this is a pretty accurate way to decipher whether or not you're seeing a succubus, especially if you dream about them and have wet dreams about them. However, before you try to break up with your succubus, you should probably make sure she doesn't just have an intense day job that makes it so she's only available in the nighttime hours, or all the other tests you can do. Sometimes it's really hard to tell if they're a succubus or not. This was a fun list to do. And I must add, there are many different types of succubi and incubi and vampiric larvae and parasites that can attach itself to your aura.